Good morning, everyone. How are we doing? Happy Wednesday. It's hump day. Hump day, hump day, hump day. So how everybody's week's been going so far? How has your week been going so far? Have you learned anything about yourself? Have you not learned anything about yourself? Have you been... I'm going to come sit down on my little swing right here because I've noticed that the internet and Wi-Fi is a little bit better here, I guess. It's kind of silly. Anyways, so how's everybody's weeks going? How is the challenge going for you? Are you having anything coming up for you? Are you having any more triggers coming up for you? Are you doing pretty good? I'd love to get your feedback. I'd love to hear how things are going for you. So, yesterday was such a blur, and so again, I'm deeply grateful, and I really appreciate everybody that reached out to me and made sure that it was okay and everything was going all right. If you didn't hear yesterday, there was a tornado that went through in the middle of the night, not in my direct area, but fairly close, and it did a lot of damage over here too, with some trees and things like that. And the neighbor next door to me, 50 homes were destroyed, and there was a few fatalities and a lot of people in. Well, for some reason I went off and then I came back on. I'm still live. Okay. Good morning, Lisa. How are you? Thank you for watching. So I do, again, I appreciate everybody reaching out and making sure that I was okay and I was safe. And yes, my power came back on late afternoon, and then I was able to do a live, do the live in the group. So the last couple of days have been kind of a blur, really, with everything going on, but there's a lot of, again, a lot of similarities within the last couple of days with the questions I've been asking, and love the one from yesterday. What's a way to indulge yourself? When's the last time you indulged yourself? And this doesn't necessarily have to be about food. I think sometimes we hear the word indulge and we think, oh, food. But this can be anything. So if you're still working on that day's challenge, I encourage you to really think about it. Like, what really is indulgent to you? Not really just about food, but just something in your life or something that you want to do, that you want to incorporate this indulgent. And then, the day before we talked about, or it might have been a couple days. Like I said, I'm just kind of a blur right now. But I talked about, different similar fearfulness, and things that we're fearful for, that kind of thing. And I noticed a lot of common things, coming up with money, fear of people, fear of rejection, fear of talking about certain things, fear of being rejected by people, fear of getting, putting yourself out there, fear of, I just keep hearing the word fear. And fear is our best friend. It really is. Fear actually helps us. I look at it as it's a roadblock, yes, but it's a roadblock to help me, okay, well, how do I get through this roadblock? How do I get to the next roadblock? Because there's always going to be roadblocks. There's always going to be stumbles. You're always have pitfalls in life. But how do I get to the next roadblock? And so I really take a look at that and say, okay, what in my life do I need to change? What in my life do I need to shift? What in my life do I need to release? What needs to evolve in order for me to get to that next level, to that next hump, to that next roadblock? So to me, I look at fear as being my best friend. And that's what I encourage all of you to do, is really look at that, okay, well, I have this roadblock I have this block, whatever it is, whatever you want to call it. I have this block, And I don't know where it's coming from, but I'm willing to do the work. I'm willing to get in and do the work to shift it, to change it, to evolve it. If you're willing to do the work and you're willing to get in there and do it and get out of your comfort zone and just plunge through it and get to the next point, you'll be a lot happier in your life. Things will start moving, things will start shifting. You won't have all these fears. You won't have all these things in the back of your mind saying, oh, you can't do this, you're not good enough, you're not smart enough, you're not beautiful enough, you can't do this, you can't do that. Once you start shifting those things and really analyzing it and saying, okay, what is it that's blocking me? And really pay attention to that and think about it and do the work. Whether working with a coach, whether doing self-help, whether going to a therapist, whatever it is that you need, we all need someone, we all need something, we all need that extra support in our life. So find that extra support, whomever it is, because we all need that to get over those humps. If we're not doing it ourselves, or we're not doing the work ourselves, and we're not getting if we're not moving forward or not getting anywhere, then you need support, you need help. So that's okay to go out and ask for help. You need to ask for help when you need the help, because you're never going to move forward unless you ask for that. So really looking at fear and really saying, okay, how do I get past this? How do I move past this? How do I change? How do I evolve? Excuse me. Which leads me to today's challenge. Today's challenge is, what is one change that you can make today to bring more happiness into your life? What is one change that you can make to bring happiness into your life? And I guarantee you, if you shift those little roadblocks that are in your life, and those little things that are coming up for you, and those things that you're afraid to talk about, and those things that you're afraid to go for, and those things you're afraid to do, or to say, or to be, I guarantee you, if you change those and shift your mindset and shift that perspective about that, you'll have that happiness. You'll gain that happiness. So what is one thing that you can change today to bring more happiness in your life? Because it all starts with you. It all starts with you. You have to do the work. Nobody else outside of you. Nobody else can change your life. You are the only one that can change your life. You are the only one that's standing in front of you. You're the only one that's putting up those roadblocks. So break down those roadblocks. Break down those walls. And plunge forward. Because you'll be a lot happier if you do. So what is one thing that I could change myself personally is procrastination. Oh my good Lord, I swear I can procrastinate so much. I have, and I know that some of you can relate to me, I have that shiny object syndrome sometimes. I will be working on something and I'll be like, get going. I'm like, okay, I've got this to-do list, and I'm going to go down the list, and then something comes up and I go the opposite direction, and then that thing still sits on my plate and still sits on my plate and still sits on my plate. Or I'll get involved and I'll get working, and good morning, Shannon, how are you? Thanks for watching. I'll get going and I'll be working, and I'll think, oh, I need to have an answer for something, and then I'll go and I'll look at something, and then I'll start watching something, and then that leads me down another rabbit hole where I'll start watching another thing, and then another thing, and another thing, and then I try to justify it with thinking it, oh, it's research, oh, I'm just researching, or I'm just learning, and maybe to some extent I am learning, and maybe to some extent I am researching, but I'm not staying on that task, and I'm not staying on that particular thing that I know I need to get done, the things I need to get done. So procrastination is a huge thing for me. I've worked a lot on this. I worked over and over and over on this, and I've I've worked on a lot of the beliefs and the habits, and a lot of my beliefs and habits derive from my childhood. My mother is a huge procrastinator. Would start something and then would get bored and then go on to something else, and then would start something and get bored and go on to something else, and then this continued for a huge chunk of my life. And so I took on that belief, not to that extent, but I took on that belief that I'm like, okay, I'm going to be working on something, and then all of a sudden my mind shifts and my subconscious reminds me, oh, you're bored, you need to go do something else. So then I'm like, oop, squirrel, oop, shiny object, and then I'm all over the place. So that's one thing that I'm working on, and that's one thing that I feel like would bring more happiness into my life if I got over that completely. If I just stayed on the task, just, stayed on that to-do list. So that is mine for today. So, what is one thing that you can do the one thing that you can change that can bring happiness into your life today? So thank you all for whoever's on right now. I appreciate you watching this live, and I appreciate everybody that's going to be watching it afterwards, and make it a beautiful day. And I'm super proud of everybody's work, all the hard work you've been doing, getting out of your comfort zone, making yourself first, putting yourself priority number one. It just warms my heart to see everybody doing the work and making themselves better. I love it. So everybody have a great day. And again, I see you, I hear you, and I'm here for you. And I love you all. So have a great day. Mwah.